Stuart Hall's influential essay, Cultural Identity and Diaspora, explores the complex nature of cultural identity within the context of diaspora and migration. Hall delves into how cultural identities are not fixed but are rather dynamic and evolving, influenced by historical, social, and cultural forces. Concept of cultural identity. Hall begins by examining the concept of cultural identity, emphasizing that it is not a static essence but a process of becoming. He argues that cultural identity is not something one simply possesses but something one constructs and reconstructs through ongoing interactions with the world. Hall asserts that cultural identity is formed through a shared history and common experiences, but it is also subject to change over time. Historical and social context. Hall highlights the importance of historical and social contexts in shaping cultural identities. He explains that identities are forged through a combination of historical experiences and social conditions. This perspective allows for a deeper understanding of how diasporic communities maintain and transform their cultural identities in response to external pressures and internal dynamics. Diaspora and displacement. The essay discusses the impact of diaspora and displacement on cultural identity. Hall points out that when people are displaced from their original cultural settings, they experience a form of rupture. This dislocation leads to a re-evaluation of their cultural identity as they navigate between their heritage and the new cultural environment they find themselves in. The role of memory. Memory plays a crucial role in the construction of cultural identity, according to Hall. Diasporic individuals and communities often rely on collective memory to maintain a sense of continuity and connection with their past. Memory serves as a repository of cultural values, traditions, and practices that help preserve a sense of identity despite geographical and cultural shifts. Hybridity and cultural mix. Hall introduces the concept of hybridity to describe the blending of different cultural elements in diasporic communities. He argues that cultural identities in the diaspora are often hybrid, characterized by the fusion of elements from both the heritage culture and the host culture. This hybridity challenges traditional notions of cultural purity and underscores the fluid nature of cultural identities. Negotiation of identity. The process of negotiating cultural identity is central to Hall's argument. He emphasizes that diasporic individuals constantly negotiate their identities as they interact with different cultural influences. This negotiation is a dynamic process that involves balancing the preservation of traditional cultural practices with the adaptation to new cultural environments. Cultural essentialism versus fluidity. Hall critiques cultural essentialism, the idea that cultural identities are fixed and homogeneous. He argues that this view overlooks the fluid and negotiated nature of identity. Instead, he advocates for a recognition of cultural identities as dynamic and multifaceted, shaped by ongoing interactions and experiences. Political and social implications. Hall discusses the political and social implications of cultural identity in the context of diaspora. He suggests that the fluidity of identity can challenge dominant power structures and contribute to social change. Diasporic communities often engage in political and social activism to assert their identities and address issues of inequality and discrimination. Globalization and identity. The essay also addresses the impact of globalization on cultural identities. Hall argues that globalization accelerates the processes of cultural exchange and hybridization, leading to new forms of identity that are shaped by global influences. This global context adds another layer of complexity to the understanding of cultural identity in the diaspora. Hall's essay offers a nuanced perspective on cultural identity and diaspora. He emphasizes that cultural identity is not a fixed essence but a process shaped by historical, social, and cultural factors. The concept of hybridity and the ongoing negotiation of identity are central to understanding the experiences of diasporic communities. Hall's work challenges essentialist views and highlights the dynamic and evolving nature of cultural identity in a globalized world.